Mom, you're gonna love this one that I'm sharing the story.
Because I was one of those that said, well, when I have kids,
Okay.
they're never gonna have.
I haven't really thought of that much. When you said it earlier, I thought, well, hell yeah, what does that mean to me? I don't know.
You go into your dealer's basement.
You don't even know what you're getting.
Oh, you would go in your dealer's basement?
I never did. But, you know, in college, people had to go to the dealer. And you had to, like,
I was very fearful financially that if something were to happen to their father, then I would be a widow, and how would I support these girls?
Education about this is very important, and I think I need to do my due diligence with it, because in the African American community, weed has not been, cannabis has not been depicted as something good for our people.
Hey, I'm Shonda Golden. Welcome to Girl Time Reno. I'm substituting for our girl Laura today, and we'd all like to send out big love and aloha to Laura. I'm here with my co-host. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Shivani, Destiny, Marva, Princess, me, Shonda, and Layla. So I purchased Matthew McConaughey's book, Green Lights. My daughter, yeah. And so I was reading the book, and then my hairdresser was like, no, you got to listen to it. And I'm like, oh, listen to it. So it gave me, I was starting to think, he's so deep that I wanted to know what you ladies consider. What is soul? What does that mean to you?
First, can you tell me what Green Light is?
Oh, it's a book.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sorry. No,
Is it about his life?
It's about his life.
Okay.
And I kind of think he's hot. So for me,
and his voice, like, it's like,
yeah.
it'll put you in a trance.
Yeah, so it's all his musings and everything,
Okay.
and he kept a journal forever, and so. But
Okay.
yeah, I was like, what is soul? So what is soul?
For me, I think it's kind of like what guides you in your body. It's like this, like a being within yourself. For me, I don't know, like your conscience, and it helps you decide how you want to live your life. And I haven't really thought of that much. When you said it earlier, I thought, well, hell yeah, what does that mean to me? I don't know.
I resonate with that one pretty well. I think it's that's a good lasagna though. That's pretty. For me, that's a layered answer. But like I would say, keep it simple. I think that souls are energy, and energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So I believe that my body is my vessel. I believe in certain forms of reincarnation. Like it goes deeper, but I think that that's what soul is. Like it's our energy and that essence of who we are. It's like something Shivani said one time when we were talking about. She goes, "Well, let's forget about bodies. What about my mind? What about who I am?"
Yeah.
That's what your soul is, and that's when you meet somebody, that energy comes first.
Yeah.
I do think it's the combination of your heart and your mind, like your truest heart and your truest mind, right?
It's like the seat of your emotions. It's the soul is, so just biblically speaking, in the beginning, when God created man, he breathed into him and he became a living soul. So it's really pneuma, it's the spirit. It's the spirit that brings life. And when that spirit is gone, then we are no longer existent. It is exactly who we are.
Yes.
Agreed.
My soul, I believe, because I wrote this question, so I was thinking, what is that? It's the best part of me,
Yeah.
right? It's my guiding light.
Yeah.
It's who I am.
I think when we get out of our own way, that's what, like if you listen to yourself and you follow that, I feel like all you can is bring it out of yourself.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Your soul is most like God. Right? So it's going to be the best part of you. It's going to be what embodies you.
And guides you. It's like, why do we get that little pit in your stomach when you are going to go and do something, but you feel like something's just kind of holding me back? Something makes me want to do something else, you know?
And where do you feel it?
Yeah.
You feel it in this,
Inside.
in your core,
This
right?
is the most intuitive part of our.
Yeah.
So would you say that you're a religious person or a spiritual person?
Spiritual.
More of a spiritual person? Why?
I grew up actually religious. Mom, you're gonna love this one that I'm sharing the story. My mother said that she always imagined that I would become a pastor. or die young and become an angel. And it's because I'm so spiritual. I was actually like it's so funny because she just is like always a little bit different, shocked by some of how I live my life today, religiously and spiritually. But I was like the first person at Bible study. I've read the Bible front to back so many times. Like I was super spiritual like that. My mom was just like, oh, she's gonna be a pastor. And I am I'm ominous. I don't know how you would put that, but I just believe in all religions.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I because they all really tie back. But I'm spiritual.
I'd have to say I'm both.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
a
say
little
I
bit
go
of
back and
both.
forth.
What about you?
I go back and forth. I'm spiritual no matter what. I know I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, and I believe that I can feel them and that they're in my life. But when it comes down to just purely religion, my husband was raised Mormon. He's no longer Mormon. So
He's a Jack Mormon?
He's as Jack can get.
I love that Jack.
Hey, Jack. He's gonna kill me. But it's like I was introduced to that world, and then I grew up going to a Catholic church, and I feel the same. I just feel like we're all doing the same thing. We're all looking up to the same thing. I don't know what it means for me personally yet, and I've decided for a really long time I had an issue that I couldn't nail it down. And now I'm finally like, I don't need to nail it down right now, and this is my journey, and he knows that I'm on it, and I've just got to find my way, and that doesn't mean it needs to be like this right now.
Right.
I don't need to have all
It's
the
building
answers
a relationship.
right now. Yes, yeah. And I'm trusting something outside of myself.
Yeah, I believe Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior,
Yeah.
but I do appreciate all spirituality and religions, and you can get something from all of that. And what about you, Queen? Are you religious, spiritual?
I'm spiritual. I do have some religious acts, but I'm very I believe in relationship. And so relationship with Jesus Christ is the epitome of everything.
Yes.
And for me, that's where it starts, that's where it ends. So with other religions, I respect them. I respect other religions, but I can only refer to what works for me,
Right.
right?
And then you're Hindu. You were raised Hindu?
I have a mom story.
Okay.
So growing up, being Hindu, and there wasn't a ton of Hindus, in Reno.
Right.
But so we would often ask our parents, like, come to them with questions about religion and about Jesus and about what we were learning in school. And my parents would always say to us that God is in a house. And my mom said that all the windows on the house are different religions. As long as you're looking through a
beautiful.
window,
Wow, I
as
love
long as you
that.
can see God, then you're okay. So she says you're just looking through a different window than other people are.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow, that's
great?
like, yeah.
Isn't that good?
I've always wondered how I talk to my children about like some of that. I love that.
I'm going home with it.
Yeah, I'm going home with
Yeah, I think so
I
too.
take that one home.
So if you were raised Hindu, where did you worship here in Reno? Because this
So Hinduism, a lot of Hindus have like a setup in their house that they can do
Okay.
puja with, and so we had our own, and I have one now, and my mom has one, and we try to sit the boys down to do it. And I've mentioned previously that I'm raising my husband's Christian, and we're just exposing our children to both. But to add a third layer of confusion, we've put our son in Catholic school.
Fun.
So,
okay.
Keep it
Yeah,
spicy.
The last time we were all doing puja, my mom's sitting there leading the puja in the front, and we're all sitting down behind her, and she says, "Okay, guys, it's time to pray." So Krish puts his hands together and starts reciting one of his Catholic prayers from school. And my mom looks back at him and she goes, "All right, his head's in the right place."
So how do you feel that organized religion bodes in today's society now?
I don't know if it's because I have my son in Catholic school now, or because we're getting to a point where they're asking questions, or just I'm becoming more aware of it. To me, I wonder, and I would love you guys to tell me, since I'm not Christian, I see so many ways in society that Christianity is used as a social elevator.
So
What do you mean by that?
So, for example, and this, I'm diving deep on this.
No, that's fine, yeah.
But there's a lot of other lesser examples. When I see a friend on social media who is religious post that they're having their third, fourth unplanned child, it's God's plan. But they look at other women having unplanned pregnancies and they have a lot of opinions on that and it being wrong. But when it's them, it was God's plan.
So I think that, and Marva could probably touch on this a lot better than I, but people hide behind whatever. So they're angry and fearful, they always hide behind, and it's easy to hide behind the cloth. And that's not the Jesus Christ that I love. That's not his message, to be judgmental of others.
And I would agree with that. But like, if you guys notice influencers, when they get to a certain level of, all of a sudden they start posting a Bible verse.
It's a
They
it's a
start
nice
sharing
labyrinth.
about Jesus to tap into a new
It's
set
in their
of
bio.
But it wasn't there before. It was
Right.
only when they wanted to reach a certain status.
And then sometimes people do that so that they're not judged and turned away from before they've created their platform. So it's a way of, now that I'm here, it's safe to go ahead and let out my beliefs, let my faith out, so that now it doesn't matter because I'm here and people, they know me. And I think it's just hypocritical to throw your religious beliefs and Bible at people. It's just be the light, just be the light. And when people are like, oh my God, there's something about you that I'm drawn to, I'm not afraid to tell them, well, it's the Jesus in me, because there's no goodness of my own. And I was just talking this week on my morning meditation that I'm convinced about Jesus because that's who changed my life, and so you can't take away the experience that people have, but you're not supposed to enforce it. So if you ask me my way, I'm going to tell you, my way is Jesus, and let me help you get there. I can help you get there because that's what works for me. So my conviction and everything is tied into that. So when other people are using their religiosity to bash and to make people not feel welcome, that isn't Christ-like at all. And it's not Christianity. So I think people use the word Christianity, but if you're really going to be Christ-like, that comes with treating your neighbors right. It comes with not being judgmental. It comes with not being violent. It comes with not, it
comes with equality.
It comes with, yes. So there's no, there's no, I'm a Christian, so this is God's work, and then
And you're not good enough.
You're right, because
You're
that's not what Jesus represented at all.
Right, because
to anyone. To anyone.
So if they're doing that,
When I grow up, I want to be more of a.
there you go.
Right. Truly.
You're beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, those are, if you have to hide behind the cloth, as we say, and set these standards, you're not following Christ. That's not what it's about. And so, but for me, when I got really, when God really showed himself to me as I prayed my way out of that depression, there was no stopping me. Like, I loved it. There was something on Facebook, it was said, like a sweatshirt, it says, at any moment I could start talking about God. I love that. All right, so it looks like we're going to have to wrap it up, and we'll be right back. Hey, we're back to Girl Time Reno. I'm Shonda Golden. I'm your substitute host today. So I gotta brag. I gotta have a moment to brag. My oldest daughter landed Car Culture Deluxe. So, thank you. So it was her first pinup photo shoot, and she got published. So it's a big deal. The magazine is not out yet, but it will be out probably in 2 weeks because distribution's being held up because of COVID. But I got it. I mean,
Mom's gonna frame that.
Oh, of
You're
course.
totally framing that.
I'm totally into it. So, with my daughter getting that and my other daughter doing so well, I started thinking about like how much parenthood has changed me in the most unexpected way. And the reason being is when I first had my daughters, prior to being a mother, I lived a very free life. in that I answered to nobody. I did whatever I wanted, and motherhood does change that, right? Because you become responsible. But when they were very small, I was very fearful financially that if something were to happen to their father, then I would be a widow, and how would I support these girls? And I think that that's part of the reason why I became such a workaholic, and such a crazy saver, which, now it's like, that's a good thing. But back then it was almost, maybe it wasn't the healthiest way to navigate with small children, always trying to build that career to make sure, oh my God. And I wasn't like forever in fear that my ex-husband was going to die, but that was always kind of that big motivator.
It's all
And
me.
why does that have to be the motivator to build a career? Because I was living my life in scarcity. Though I was comfortably middle class, I was still living in scarcity. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to ask other women, like, what have you learned about yourself? What's changed about you that you unexpectedly went, oh my God, I'm not like that anymore?
I would say for myself, I became more sensitive of not just them, but of other people. I became an advocate because I understand that a child can't speak up for themselves. So I became present as an advocate and in tune to their needs. Like, I wanted to make sure, like, one of my sons came home from school one day and balled up in a fetal position and was just, okay, we went to the school. Like, what's happening?
Right.
And my son is coming home. And it helped me become a better leader.
Oh,
Because
wonderful.
because in leadership, when you begin to take on responsibility and you have others following, as a parent, you put the child before yourself. And so as a leader, I would consider myself a servant leader. I have learned the sacrifice that it takes to be a leader, to put people before me. Than rather to be just me centered. Because I was a me centered. I was the only girl in my family, so it was me, mine.
Right. I think I got over the scarcity when I unfortunately lost that marriage and we divorced. And I bought my first property on my own. I bought a townhouse. And I did it during the Great Recession. And so I was like, I can totally do this. I got this. Yeah.
I knew I was going to be a mom at such a young age. My mother, sorry, was so embarrassed. I would come out at 6 years old with my Cabbage Patch doll with underneath my shirt. We'd have like a dinner party, and I'd be like, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And then instead of just being pregnant, like, I would birth my child in front of everyone, and I gotta have my baby now. And my mom's like, "I'm sorry, every time people come over." So I just knew I would be a young mom, and I thought I was going to have a ton of children. And I had my son when I was 20 years old. So I mean, I still feel like I know I'm still a child myself, but. I just had this conversation last night with my husband, one of his friends, and I think really for me, my mom is the ultimate badass that I know.
That's awesome.
And she doesn't play around, and she had me at 17, and she just is who she is, and I just adore her and look up to her so much. And I thought that I was like that too. Growing up, I thought, well, I'm a badass too. I can do anything I want to do. And the second I started having children, I realized how much I do allow other things into my life that I would never allow for my children. I always want you want to protect them, and you don't want anything to happen to them, and you want to protect their hearts. And I know, like, there's you got to have some kind of room for that in their life. But I was allowing things for myself that I would never allow for my children. And I'm like, wait, I'm not a badass, really, I'm softy. Like, if I'm going to stand up for them like that, I want to stand up for myself like that too.
Right.
So it showed me what true unconditional love was and how to give it back to myself.
Wow.
So it wasn't
That's
just for
big.
them. I was like,
That's really big.
yeah, I was like, how can I treat myself the way I'm treating the kids? And I think it's sometimes
So
it's
many
hard.
moms. I hope that helps so many moms.
Right.
It's hard.
It's an amazing perspective.
Oh, yeah.
And also, the blessing of children make you fight.
Oh,
Yes, they
Yeah. With you saying that, they make you fight. Like, you be knocked down sometime for the count.
Yeah.
And that child would be like, my child needs to see me win.
Right.
My child needs to see me
watching.
recover. My child needs to see me, I'm doing this for them. And they make you push beyond limitations and boundaries. It's because, look, I need them to know they can do it, they can make it, they need to see the hard work. So I never hid the hard work from my children.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I try to show them the downs.
Yeah, that's healthy.
There's so many ups, but there are downs, and you're gonna see mommy cry, and I try not to yell too much, but you're gonna see me yell, and you're gonna see me have to fight to get back up, and I want them to have that too. It's like, it's not all good every day.
What about you, Shivani?
Especially the powerhouse woman over there. I'm really
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, what Shivani?
Yeah.
Come on, Shivani, come on.
Shivani, you lift me up.
Yeah,
you
come
do.
on.
I don't know if you guys are gonna like this answer.
No, I like everything that comes out of your mouth.
yeah.
I like
I'm
everything.
a lot less judgy because I was one of those that said, well, when I have kids,
Okay.
they're never gonna have passies. There I am. Both of my boys wouldn't take a passy, but let me tell you,
What's a passy? Okay.
I kept being like, please, for the love of God. It's a mute button. Is what it is.
Oh,
It's
okay.
a mute
Yeah.
button for your baby. I said I would never do that. Look, I'm very close with my brothers, and our middle brother Neil had children first, and you guys are gonna die. His daughter was sick one time. She had a basic cold. I literally texted him and said, if I was 2 years old, I would hope that I had better people looking out for me than you are for her right now.
Oh boy.
His wife saw that text. She unfriended me. She's like my bestest friend in the world. Unfriended me on all social media. And I was like, then fast forward, we're at my mom's house. I've got my son and he's acting like a huge brat. And Neil's like telling me that I'm messing it all up. And I wanted to be like, hey, I don't tell you what to do with. And I was like,
Oh, karma.
yeah. I was like, oh God,
You're
I
like,
was so
okay.
bad. And I had to write my sister-in-law an apology. I was like, now that I'm a mom and my
Get
kids
it.
have had snotty noses a million times and I don't take them to the doctor every time, I really just need to apologize for everything.
Right.
One time I canceled on sushi for her like 15 minutes before and she had just gotten her and the baby ready to go. And you know when you're a new mom, getting out of the house with you and your baby, I still feel bad about this
I'm
now.
all, wait, no, and when you're an older mom, I feel like, God, getting out of the house with the kids is hard.
It
But you know
is.
what? That's actually an opportunity to grow.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've learned,
right?
and now I
Because-
think like I don't. It's never my place to judge another mom ever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not at that stage yet, and I also think like as moms, we could do a service to all other moms by just telling the truth about what our
Oh,
story is.
yeah.
Right.
Because
Oh, yeah.
the mom shaming, it's so. We're all being hard enough on ourselves, and
Yeah.
we talked about it.
That ties into like womanhood and sisterhood. Yes. Right? Like why like you but that's like if you go to like not like this was a topic that I discussed like was just if you go to like those mom boards, it is not exactly the most like welcoming place. You think about somebody that might have like, postpartum, going through those, I mean, we have hormones every single day as a woman anyway, but it seems like I'm scared. I was like, I'm definitely like, I guess like I've been called granola just because of like some of my thoughts. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not judging what you're doing right now, but you're judging me before I even have children. But
Yeah, I mean,
How do you feel showing up for your friends as they start to have kids? Because that's been a big thing in my life too, is that all of my friendships were at different places in our lives. And I've noticed that the ones that were really strong friendships, we stay connected, even if I'm married and having children and they were still single. But a lot of other friendships, they just didn't make it because they I guess they felt like we don't have as much in common anymore.
is that when you were single, you said?
No, now that I'm a mom,
Oh,
I felt like it got harder for some of my friendships to maintain if they weren't in that same space. Whereas, I got even more closer to my other friends who had
Yeah.
became moms
And
together.
it's different because now you don't have the time. You don't have that free
That's what
time
it is.
that they're able to have, and where they don't have to be as patient and as planned because they don't have children. So it's like they could still, just navigate their lives however they want to. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry. You have to go do your thing. And so I think it's a natural pull away just because that responsibility takes on a lot of your time, So,
yeah, well, when I became a mom, a lot of my friends were partiers. So I really wasn't that interested in maintaining those friendships anyways.
Your life was changing.
Yeah, my life was changing. And but you know what I learned from that? That they probably weren't that deep of friendships that I
Yeah.
thought they were.
Yeah.
Because if they were deep, they would have lasted.
Yeah. I'm not a mom,
Yeah.
but I think of my career as my baby, and like you guys know, I'm an entrepreneur. I have my hands in so many different things. So for me though, I notice with my own friends and like a current dynamic that I'm going through, even with my partner, is like we're very much in this hustle phase. Like we are young,
Wonderful.
power
I love
couple,
that
like we're
phase.
hungry and we want to make changes in our life. Well, that doesn't exactly align with a lot of some of the circles that we have been in previously, where they're kind of partiers and they kind of just have a different lifestyle and even like goals, which I'm not hating on any of yours, but mine takes a lot of like, it takes a lot of discipline in my nutrition because, you know, I have chronic illness. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things I have to do different in my life because of those things. And it's shifted. I have amazing friends with like all of my friends have had kids. I'm still like, did it shift a little bit? Yeah, because like they're not as free anymore or this or that, but I'm still just as supportive for them, and we don't have to talk every day because like I don't want to talk every day. Well, I'm tired. You're tired. Like
you would say you have a life.
Yeah,
Like you have a life that you have to attend to.
Yeah.
And I think just with business, that separation that we were talking about with just, you know, not being a mom, I think we have that even when you really get into hustle and you are focused and you have people that are not focused and that are, you know, trying to pull you away, you consider them a distraction.
Right.
And it's no negative thing. It's just like, I'm trying to get somewhere. And
Focus
if
on
I
my
don't
purpose.
let you go, then it's going to either hold me back or I'm not going to make it, right? And so then you have to say, you know, the love loss is still there. When we get time, let's go to lunch, let's catch up.
Right.
But don't punish me.
Yeah.
yeah,
know?
there's like that passive aggressive
You
or
think
like
you better.
resentment.
You think you
like,
better than everybody. No, I don't think I'm better than everybody, but I've been working hard. Like,
but I sure as hell doing things differently. So
Unless you are, in which case you are better.
Yeah. And with that, focus on your focus. We'll be right back. And we're back at Girl Time Reno. I'm your substitute host, Shonda, and I'm here with all my co-stars. We're going to do a special segment today called Layla's Community Corner.
Okay, so we have some cool things going on. I don't know if you all ladies know, but Nevada's, I always mess up my words, but legislative sessions have begun.
Okay, but they're not
or-
open to the public.
No, very
Okay.
interesting. Also, like just because even for lobbying, you don't have to register this year. You don't
Interesting.
even have to register, but because you can't get in to talk to any legislators anyway.
Okay.
So but it's kind of scary because then you don't know where money's going, but so just, you know, little snippet there, look
Okay.
into that. But one of the topics right now, there's two things. One, I'm really excited for, it's really great for our community youth. It's gonna impact a lot of lives. Now, if from the ages of 18 to 21, if you were stopped and you had cannabis on you, it was a felony.
You're kidding.
No, like it's that's how.
Right.
Yes.
I had
I
no
didn't know that.
idea.
Yes, there
I
has,
didn't know
the law reform on cannabis is so in depth.
so
So
was how much you had on you, right?
but
It was
even
by
it was
weight.
still pretty, and it was still pretty small quantity at that point. Now you can legally carry an ounce on you at one time, 2 ounces if you're medical, right?
Okay.
So you legally, I can walk around, get stopped, doesn't matter. But if you're between the ages of 18 and 21, there was still like where you get into like your third strikes, right? A lot of those kinds of things is happening to children that could have just had 2 grams on them,
Right.
And were just not even they weren't even driving, maybe like whatever, but they got stopped. It was just impacting a lot of the youth. I mean, and why we have so many people in jail, things like that. So Nevada changed their law. It's no longer going to be so they're not going to do it like that. They're going to change it so that it can actually
good job with that.
right, give them a little bit better of a chance, put them in rehabilitation programs and things like that. Treat it really how we should be, educating children and steering them from the wrong. I know they're 18 to 21, but we're not done developing until we're 26.
Right.
But one of the topics I'm curious, consumption lounges. And public consumption is what's currently being discussed for different bills right now.
So like what they do in Denver.
Yes, so basically, let's just say if we wanted to go, let's just say we wanted to go to Code Coffee.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, because that's where you would smoke marijuana.
Yeah.
But right. I like it. So let's just say we're going to a coffee shop. If this was the past, there's just so many different things too. It's really hard. But let's just say they pass it. If you allowed it, people could consume within your establishment.
But what about guns?
You would have to have a license. There's licensing and all that kind of stuff that you have to apply for.
Wait, what about guns?
What about guns?
What do you mean?
So because you can't have marijuana and have your guns, right?
So that actually you can, but you can't. So currently the terminology is, I have a medical card, I cannot have my CCW.
Okay.
Other than that, there's not a whole lot covering that under the language.
So they have to figure that out.
They have to figure
because
it out.
that's just way too gray.
They have it's the same thing with alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
It's not actually.
it is, yeah.
There's not actual. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's what it's not. They're trying to get it. I think where it's treated like alcohol. They're eventually they want to be regulated like that. I think some of the cannabis industry wants that, but it's more so just because alcohol has such a free pass while it causes so much harm.
So much.
so much harm. So now, go ahead.
Is it the same, are they trying to treat it the same like cigarettes? Where you will have places where you can and can't?
Pretty much, essentially, yeah. I mean, obviously, if a place is across the street from a school, just they have certain stipulations in place so that they keep it from children being able to interact with those things.
Okay.
But yeah, you would be able to. I mean, if a casino wanted to be cannabis friendly, they could be. If they apply for their license and they do that. But public consumption also means that I could smoke my joint outside. You could walk outside and somebody could just basically consume outside, which is, I don't know, that's a little deep. But what do we kind of think? I think
That's a lot.
lounges are a topic. People are talking a lot about that kind of stuff.
It is weird when you think about it like smoking. So, if I'm going to Code Coffee, and I don't want to be around smokers, so is there a special area that the business creates for people who want to be smoking cannabis?
Or if you have a patio, they can smoke outside.
Yeah.
So what if
Do you have a patio?
You know it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's
What's going to happen. We're going to have so many contact highs. They're going to
That's
be like,
another
I went
thing,
to
yeah.
Cold Coffee. Really, I
Should we say
Right.
it's a code?
I went to Cold Coffee and I was around it, but I didn't do it. I promise.
That's a great example. What about, so are these just lounges or can you serve food in them?
So I don't we don't have that anymore. I mean, you can't smoke and eat food. There's definitely some sanitation things that will come into play here.
Okay.
But a lot of your bars basically would be able to. I think that's what people are going for. Is if you have a bar, if you have an entertainment place, this means that. Weddings, you guys already know that when I get married, we probably want to have something, it's going to be no children, we want to do a little thing, but there's events all the time. People have cannabis, really cute boutique style, but that means that we can do that here in Nevada. You can do public consumption, venues open up for those kinds of things and events. But not just a restaurant or
I'm for
anything
it.
like that.
Yeah, I'm for it too.
I'm totally for it. I don't
I'm for
see
it.
that for code. References
We'll leave
later.
that for other businesses.
But I'm for it. So in the last year, I've learned so much about how beneficial it is for so many people. And we've even spoken about how, a few years ago, not that long ago, you had to hide and get it from different people. And it was just so taboo, to openly have it. And I just feel like it's beneficial. So if you can get it easier or make it where you personally don't feel like it's taboo or you personally don't feel like people are judging you for it and you get to see the other people in the world who also, you could probably go and you'd be like, oh, hey, Tim, hey, Sally, what's going on? Like,
Right.
I just think that that's better for the community as a whole.
So
I
is
really
this
do.
is this for medical use or is this just for
I'm of, the
recreation?
I'm of the concept, honestly, that all cannabis use is medicinal. Your
Yeah.
body has receptors within it that were actually made to receive. Now, that doesn't mean I believe people are getting high and that's always medicine.
Yeah.
But it does actually. I mean, CBD, it mimicks serotonin in your body. So people take that to help with mood regulation. They take it like a supplementation. So, even my mother emits certain cannabinoids in their breast milk because you have
Yeah.
receptors that create its own actual cannabinoids. Yeah.
How fascinating. Now, what about, excuse me, someone like myself who has been around marijuana and I hallucinate. I hallucinate.
So that's what's beautiful now about the research and the legalization aspect is that we can actually have good research and access to quality cannabis to do that research. But
Yeah.
now
Because you
essentially,
used to have to go like smoke, you
You would-
go into
yeah,
a
you wouldn't
dealer's
even-
basement.
you don't even know what you're getting.
Oh, you would go in your dealer's basement?
I never did. But in college, people had to go to the dealer and you had to
people.
spend, you had to budget
There's a
time
middleman.
because you'd have to smoke a bowl with him.
Watch Pineapple
whole
Express.
thing. Versus now, you like walk up and they're like, "This will be your bud tender," and you're like, "Oh, wow."
Yeah, and like I mean, in the state of Nevada, everything
And it
from
doesn't
seed to
get
sale
laced.
is tracked. So if you go in there and you say, "I would like to have the COA, I want to see the entire lab," you can see that entire lab, and you can see the life stage of from the seed to the moment that it was packaged into this type of product.
So your point is that you won't be hallucinating because it won't be laced with any weird.
That
Yeah.
part, and also because
What
like,
do
you
you
can
think
obtain different feelings. Like they have cool things called Delta 8 where it's not psychoactive anymore. And
Is that
you
what
get
the
that-
hallucinating
yes.
about this too?
Okay.
THC is responsible for that. There's over 200 different cannabinoids that have not all. I think that's terpenes, but there's a lot of cannabinoids that haven't even been identified in the plant because research. To get a full research, you have to break everything down to a molecule, like we do in anything that we're researching, right? But it's so vastly different now that I mean, it's just we need to research it more.
That's fascinating. Yeah, because, excuse me, I get excited. And I get a little anxious. And I was like, I want some marijuana, but I don't want to hallucinate, you know?
Yeah, but that's why like CBD would be perfect. I think,
Yeah.
especially as women, we actually have more receptors than men do for CB receptors. So
Okay.
also because we have wombs and a lot of those other aspects. But yeah, there's CBD oil, there's gummies. You can even one time we joked about smoking all together. I could smoke over here while I give somebody else a hemp joint where it has no high, no THC. It's completely hemp based. But they're gonna get a nice relaxing feeling out of it. I do a cup of tea. I have CBD tea. I drink it, and it just makes you. It's almost like this nothingness. It just takes this edge off.
Now code would like that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's cool.
See?
So what's the
CBD
licensing?
matcha?
What's the licensing procedure to get a lounge?
Oh gosh, that's another thing that's being discussed. They're now discussing the social and racial equity aspect of it. They're talking about more social than racial, but that's what's being discussed right now is how they would actually hand out these licenses, who would get them. It first has to be passed, and then there's something called the CCB now that I believe it was Sislak instituted when he came in, was assigning an actual own independent department because the Department of Taxation was who oversaw us before that, which is weird.
Makes no sense.
No sense. Still, we have nobody that's involved or knows cannabis on these boards, but they're doing the best that they can. But once it's passed, then that would be the next stage that gets built.
Because
into.
I don't know, I think having a lounge, a woman, like maybe a ladies only marijuana lounge, I think that would be kind of a nice
I think
thing.
it'd be a cool club. Yeah.
Yeah, just like a ladies only club where you can just have marijuana, like a small little lounge, that would be
But
nice.
yeah, like something that you can get
You're
together.
onto something.
Yeah,
I'm onto something.
exactly.
Yeah, my husband said no business is for you, because,
Thank
but
you.
anyways, but it's a good idea.
It's okay, Shonda.
You should do
You
it.
can come enjoy it. It's
Yeah, I think that would be a great little lounge.
have some shows. But I mean, there's a lot of people in the cannabis industry, we want it to be safe. That we don't want it to be accessible to children.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, and that's. I feel like if there's bars and
There's a
you can
place.
go and you can drink, I feel like we don't look at alcohol that way,
Yeah.
and no one's trying to make sure that alcohol is safe and we're going to do it this way, and you get to see it from start to finish. And here's all of
we have crawls.
You know what I'm saying?
Love
Yeah,
crawls,
like,
but
so if we can do that, and especially in Nevada where we love doing all of those things,
Yeah.
I feel like, gosh, what a great alternative,
Right.
healthier, I think, for you, and safer, like you're saying. Like, I'm not trying to drop my son off when he's 18
Right.
years old.
right. Nobody wants that.
Yeah,
Like,
but at the same time,
What do
I
you
feel
think, Marva? Because I'm kind of with you with the contact high. I don't want to go get a salad, an ahi salad somewhere, and then get
And
somebody
slop.
yeah, just like I don't want to hallucinate after eating my
your ahi comes alive on your plate.
So
She
what do
said
you,
it could be fun. You know, I'm just thinking about, so education about this is very important. And I think I need to do my due diligence with it, because in the African American community, weed has not been, cannabis has not been depicted as something good for our people. And it has literally, like, it's kind of taken over their lives, and they're so subdued that they aren't doing what they need to do. They're not being responsible. And so it has a negative connotation. It's
Right.
like that rapper image, Snoop Dogg type of, you know, and you just, it's kind of grimy, it's grungy. So that's my perspective, but I'm looking at you like, she don't look like she, you know. So I'm a little, so I do need to do, because I'm just like, man, I've seen this kind of destroy lives, not, you know.
Enhance them.
very fair.
So that's what goes on though, is like a lot of these companies are being pressured to actually influence and change. Like there's Last Prisoner Project here in Nevada. If you don't know it, look it up. It's really great.
What's it called?
The Last Prisoner Project.
The Last Prisoner.
The Last Prisoner Project.
Okay.
And they actually, they work on getting people out of jail. And also there's different places doing things to institute jobs, allow these people to have an opportunity who are being put in jail. But that is that is a very big problem actually that was discussed recently on Clubhouse, was something that was brought up, but was discussing just how people can do podcasts, we have these shows, we have these cooking shows and all this stuff to destigmatize, right? And change the propaganda that was false and put on marijuana, especially towards the Black community, right? But the thing is people are still in jail. So we see all these podcasts, we do see all those things. So that's like, that is just a lot of, it gets deep. It's a lasagna.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we learned a lot, so thank you for that. I think this is something more that we need to explore, because like what Marva's saying, there's both sides to this topic. So please comment below, let us know if there's any topics that you would like to, like for us to discuss, and don't worry about the haters, because look, delete. All right, see you next week.